Welcome in, Ghoul. Today we are going to be doing the very last portion of our Haunted Video Store blanket crochet along, where we're going to assemble all the parts that we have made already. If you have the pattern, you can reference this picture for assembling and how to lay everything out. Then also flip to the back part here where it has the full-on blanket assembly. So all the parts that we have, and it's just a nice little breakdown here. Basically, we're going to be using the zigzag stitch to assemble the big pieces. And for all the appliques that we're attaching to the squares, which we have 3 ghosts and 3 VHS tapes that we need to attach to these squares, we're going to be using a yarn needle and just seaming them together. For the ghosts, we're not seaming the bottom, so we're just seaming around the edge right here, and that part is going to remain open, just a little bit of a ghostly movement for that square. So here's a breakdown of all of the parts that we've created for this blanket. Go ahead and use the picture as a reference and lay everything out. If you've been seaming the appliques onto the squares as we've been going, then they're already together. If not, I suggest that you start there. So for each black square, we're putting a white ghost onto that, and every red square has a VHS applique onto it. So for assembling the squares, all you need to do is grab the square color to coordinate with the applique. So here I have the red square and the VHS applique. For this one, I angled it a little bit. And since the applique's main color is black yarn, that is what I'm going to use in order to seam it onto the square. So grab some of that color, a pair of scissors and yarn needle, cut some of the yarn, attach it onto the needle. So just start at one corner here. Attach the yarn onto the top. And then just start to seam it onto the square. So keep seaming that onto the square until you get to the end, then weave in both of these ends. For the ghost section, we're grabbing a black square, 1 ghost applique, white yarn with the yarn needle. Start at the bottom corner to attach it onto the black square and stop when you get to the other corner. This part we're leaving open. We're going to have a little bit of movement going on with our ghost, so this part does not get attached onto the square. Next, we're assembling the squares together to make a section of the blanket, and to do that, we're using the zigzag stitch. I do have a complete tutorial of how to do that if you need a little refresher, so that is linked down below in the descriptions. For the squares, I used black yarn to seam them all together. Then to attach the squares to the granny spike stitch section, I used white yarn. Once all the pieces are assembled on the blanket, for the border, we're going to use black yarn and a 6mm crochet hook. Start by attaching the yarn onto the hook. And start with one of the corners of the blanket. Attach the yarn onto that corner with a slip stitch. Then chain 2. Working in the same stitch that we just did a slip stitch, 1 double crochet. Work around the entire blanket, placing 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around. For row number 2, chain 2, turn the project, and 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way around the blanket one last time. Once you've completed that, go ahead and cut the working yarn and weave in the 2 ends that you have. And that is everything that you need in order to assemble your Haunted Video Store blanket for our Halloween 2025 crochet along. I hope you had a super spooky time creating this blanket. If you did, don't forget to leave me a pumpkin emoji in the comments below. Have a super spooky rest of your night, and I will see you in my next video.